Hello, this is Learning Journey. This is our week 5 of coding in Python. And this week we'll be learning about if and if-else statements, which is, if you've ever learned coding before, is a very important thing to learn sooner or later. They are also known as conditional statements, and these conditionals will allow your program to make decisions based on the conditions you give it, and it will then execute specific code depending on which condition is met. So we'll go ahead and start this by opening up a new text file, selecting our language as Python as always. There, we'll go ahead and save it if it lets me. Save it, and we'll do it as an if-else statement. There we go. Now, the basic structure of an if-else statement is if, and you tab over, and this is where you add your code. Then you do else, and then you do your code again. But when you do an if, you have to add the condition, and you add a colon. For an else, you don't need that, but you also need to know what an else if is. So if it's not the first condition, is it the second condition? Like this. And then if it's neither of those, it will execute the else, which will be the final thing you'll add. But you do not have to have an else or an else if. If you have an if, that's all that's necessary. If you had an else if or an else, that's just additional. Usually you do, depending on what you're looking for. So we'll start with some basic if-else statements. The first one will be, we'll ask for someone's age, which is age equal, and you want it to be an integer. So you put the int there, and then do enter your age like this, and then go if age, let's say greater than or equal to 60. For Python, you have to indent. That's how it knows when it's doing the if statement or the if code. If you don't do it, it won't know. It might even give you an error. I can't be confident in that. Print, and we'll say you get a senior discount, like so. And then if we run this, just how it is, we have to wait for the terminal to load. Now we have enter your age. We'll put in 18, and nothing runs because there's no else if, no else. So if you're not above 60, nothing happens. If we run it one more time though, and we type in 61, you've got a senior discount because you are above the age of 60. Now if we want to add more, we can do an else if age greater than or equal to 18. Greater than or equal to 18, we'll do print adult, and it'll tell us that you're an adult. We'll run this. I forgot to put the colon, which is also necessary. As you can tell, doesn't run if you do. And this time we'll put I'm 21. You're an adult this time. And if you add an else in here, we'll do else print child. And we can say this because if you're above 60, it means you're a senior. If you're above 18 though, you're an adult. So only the ages of 17 and below will ever hit this else line. So we can hit run here. We'll type in 16, and it says we're a child, and this shows an if, an else if, and an else statement working. Now if you want to go a step further, we can go a step further by saying we can do an if statement. If age is greater than 60, you're a senior. But if your age is above or equal to 100, we'll print out extreme senior discount. And this is known as a nested if statement or a nested conditional, because it could also be in the else if section. It's not usually in the else section, but it can also be there. But this means that if you're above 60, it'll go in here, it'll print senior discount. And if you're above the age of 100, you get the extreme senior discount. I forgot the colon again. That's how this works. You could also run it in such a way where you get rid of this senior discount, right? And you run an else statement here. Do the colon. And now it won't print twice. If you're above 60 and 100, you get the extreme discount. But if you're only above 60, you'd then hit this else statement here because you're not above 100 and only get the senior discount. And for guidance, these operators need to be like this. This means is age exactly equal to 60. This means age not equal to 60. You can also do just a greater than or just a less than. And the first one I had was a greater than or equal to. But you can also do a less than or equal to, and they have to look this way. You can't swap the symbols. You can't have this looking like this. Well, no. This is not less than. It's nothing. And the greater than can't be here. Can't be here either. That's just the only syntax it accepts. And then if you want it to be more, not complicated per se, you can add, let's say, greater than or equal to 60, and then you can type in the word and. Your age is less than or equal to 70. We can get rid of all of this now and just say print and go your age is between 60 and 70, because and means it has to fit both these conditions. And we can do age equal 10 and go print you are either an adult or are 10 years old, because an and has to have both of them true to work. But for or, it means either this one or this one is true. And there's one last one that's easier done in a different way. We'll do is pretty for our boolean, and we'll put that as false. And then for our if statement, we'll use a different one called not, which inverts whatever it is. So is pretty. If not is pretty, which means that right now it reads that as true. So print out you are pretty. And if we run this, we'll enter our age just to show it. We'll enter 10. And it says you are either an adult or 10 years old, because while it's not above 18, it is the age of 10, so it means it automatically will run then. And if not is pretty runs because it is now a true statement, because it switches from false to true. The not operator inverts whatever it is. So if we put not here, then we would know that the age is not over 60 and not under 70. And now we can combine multiple in one like I was showing you. Before I was just talking about how the and works. But you can combine ands and ors to make a very long one, such as if you did this, and then you did or age is equal to 8, like this. We'll go ahead and run. And then if we put 8 years old, while it does not work here because this is and, this is false, but it makes the age equal to 8 as true, and that makes the total, the one outside the parentheses, as true. If this was and this is still true, but this is false, this would never print. Just how it works. We'll do a quick practice exercise here, and it will be ooh, my bad. It will be a temperature advisor, and it's gonna say if it is above 25 degrees, if it is above 79 degrees, wear light clothes. If it is above 50 to 70, whatever I said the first time, we'll say 75. So 50 to 75, wear a jacket, and if it's below 50, wear a coat. Now if you want to pause now to go ahead and try it on your own, you can. I'll give you a couple seconds to pause. And now I'm going to start writing the code out. First things first is we're going to use this as an input. You don't have to. You could have just typed it out, the if, the else if, and the else statement. But we're going to use it as code. I'll do if, or do temp equals input. What is the temperature? Question mark space. That's just how I like to format it. And then we can do if temp above I said 75, above 75 degrees or equal to 75 degrees. We'll do print wear light clothing. If you can spell correctly, wear light clothing. And then we'll do an else if the temp is above or equal above is greater than or equal to 55 degrees. You print wear a jacket, and then else, if I get inside, else temp, else print wear a coat, and that's just what you'll do. Now you could have also added the if greater than 75 and added an and here, but you don't need to. You change the greater than to the else and, because if it's not above 75, that means it automatically goes to the next one. And if it's not above 55, it would go to the last one, which is wear a coat. And that's all you'd have to do. And we should be able to run this and see. Hopefully this works. Nope, it's just gonna run the whole thing. So we'll quickly just delete all this and we'll rerun it. What is the temperature? We'll say 56. Should say wear jacket. We'll run it again just to show that it works. And we'll say 78, wear light clothing. As a little bit of a practice exercise so you know what you're doing. Some common mistakes you need to avoid are: 1, you need to make sure that when you are doing this, you make sure to indent after each if, else if, and else statements. So the printing is, I'll show you right here. You want this gap right here is a tab. If it's like this, print won't work, so you tab over, and it now knows it's running everything that's tabbed. If you do this, this needs to be tabbed over even more, like so. This is, well, you need to change this in if you're going to do that, like that. So that's how that would work, right? And then you, instead of using, we didn't really use it here, we used it here, is you need to make sure that it's 2 equal signs instead of 1. 1 equal signs is saying that the variable age now equals 10. 2 is the comparison value of it. And you want to make sure that you don't overuse nested if statements. Like, you really don't want code to look something like if temp greater than equal to 60, print, and for this I'm just going to leave it blank, and then do an if again. If you keep doing this, it makes your code harder to read, first of all, and it also makes it really hard to understand what you're trying to get at. Most of the time you're able to trim that all the way down to get something you want. Otherwise, I hope this video is useful to you in some way, but make sure to, like always, comment down below something you learned for this week, or comment a way I can improve my videos. Otherwise, I'll see you later.